Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Web Boxing Podcast 101. I am your host, Luis Trevino, also known as Tree, coming to you by way of Warriors Edge Boxing Gym promotions on this beautiful Thursday night. I'm so glad you're here with us tonight, guys. And we have a big show for you guys tonight here at Warriors Edge Boxing. We got two big persons here with us today to talk about different topics. But first, I want to just bring up some stuff that I heard this week. All right, guys, and you know what? The first thing I'm going to talk about is that Golden Gloves is this weekend. Big show this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Hopefully we have a lot of people joining us this weekend at the El Paso County Coliseum Judging Arena tomorrow night. It starts at 7 p.m., Saturday and Sunday at 3 p.m. And I know we have some out-of-town fighters and local fighters here ready to showcase the talent. So, folks, if you're hearing me out right now, get out to the Coliseum tomorrow and support boxing. In the last podcast or so, we've been talking about the support that El Paso gives our young talent and boxing. And let me tell you, folks, there's not that much support. That's the saddest thing, because El Paso used to be a boxing community. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that with my co-host this evening, Mr. Herman Delgado, and he'll shed some light on it, on why El Paso has dwindled again in the boxing community. And I remember from hearing from folks, and I've had people in my podcast before, that Golden Gloves was the in thing here in El Paso, and now it's not. I mean, you got to remember, El Paso has produced some great champions. Lascano, the Hispanic causing panic, has been through here, right? David Rodriguez, Herman Delgado. Hey, what about Escalante? And the sweetheart of boxing, Jennifer Hahn. It is a boxing town. So guess what? We want to bring it back. We want to bring light to the boxing again and bringing it up. So one thing that I wanted to bring up, and this goes to the coaches out there, no offense to them, and again, this was a question that was brought up about their fighters. Coaches, if you have fighters and you sign them up for a tournament, it's not choose or pick. You're on the list. You should take the fight. You know, more and more in time we hear that, who is my fighter fighting? Well, it's this guy. Oh, well, forget it. We don't want to fight. Well, I mean, you're in it to fight. You're in it for the sport. Let's just take the fights, guys. And instead of blaming or putting the blame on the LBC or putting the blame on somebody else, a lot of it, guys, like I said, we got to also come together. The door has both sides, and work as a team. We got to be together. If your fighter has a fight and it's been legitimately matched, I believe you should take it. You shouldn't ask, well, who is my fighter fighting? Listen, he's been matched by professional people that know what they're doing, from the LBC, USA Boxing, Golden Gloves, whatever the case may be. They should take the fight. And guys, I'm not just talking El Paso. We are getting, it's live streamed all over. Albuquerque, Odessa, Phoenix, Arizona, Ciudad Juarez. Take the fight. And that's what I was talking about. And then the kid doesn't take the fight, and then gets what? The other kid gets shafted. We had another fighter this week. He gets shafted because they didn't want to take the fight. Just take the fight, guys. That's where we're all in it together. And that's what I wanted to point out. Going back to what I was talking about in the last podcast, hey, guess what? The disciplines of boxing. Hey, that motivation. Hey, that discipline on the fighter, guys. That's another thing we got to work on. And you know what? Look, tell your young fighters, tell them, look, we're in it for the sport. We're in it to fight. And whatever fight comes our way, we're going to take it. And that's why we need fighters to have lots of fights. You go to other cities, and, man, we're fighting kids that have 90, 100 fights. Our kids don't even come close to that. Yeah, take it for granted that we don't have tournaments here in El Paso. But listen, that's one of the problems that we've had. As coaches, too, we play a lot of fault. We need to take the fights that are given to us. All right? That's what the fighters are there for. Yes, safety, safety, safety. We can throw in the white towel. That's fine. But still, guys, we need to take those fights. And I'm pretty sure when I bring in Herman Delgado, he'll shed some light on all this, because he's been in the boxing world for a long time. So that's what I wanted to bring up tonight, guys, about taking the fights. And also just, hey, promoting its Golden Gloves week. We're getting ready for tomorrow night. I hope you guys can make it at 7 o'clock. We have a very good card this weekend, and I'm pretty sure the Golden Glove people, chief of officials, have done a good job to put this show together for Golden Gloves. So don't forget, tomorrow is Golden Gloves, El Paso County Coliseum at the Judging Arena, right? We're also going to discuss more fights coming up in the near future, so you can get your fighters ready. All right, guys. Well, like I said and promised, we have a big show tonight. I have two co-hosts tonight, two guests of honor here in the studio inside the gym. First guest of honor, is Marlene. Marlene is a local business owner. And and again, local business owners need to be highlighted. We need to keep our money here in El Paso. Me as a local business owner, it's the same thing. Keep our money here, guys. So she's a local business owner, and she does something different. She doesn't own a boxing gym, but she owns Ambary Health. And that's what we're going to talk about for the first couple of minutes here tonight, about what is Ambary Health, and it's all about the CBD oil, all right? All legal, all legit. It's all about the CBD oil and its benefits. And I'm pretty sure, you know, around the city you've seen everywhere pop up CBD massages, CBD shops, smoke shops, etc., etc. You've heard some positive things about it. You've heard some negative things about it. This is legit, right? And I brought her in because it has so many benefits to the athletes, all right? And her business is legit. It's proven, tested, and approved. So we want to talk about it and how it helps, how it's gonna help local athletes. Because as I understood, one of her clients is a professional fighter. So she's in studio. We're going to talk about a little bit about what her business is, how it benefits people, so on and so forth. Marlene, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. This is amazing, this facility that you have here. It's so cool.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're here with us, Marlene. So can you tell us a little bit about what is Ambary Health?
Sure, my pleasure. So Ambary Health is a company that is committed to providing and creating 100% THC-free products that are all made from cannabis, all legal here in Texas, 100% THC-free, like I said. So it's safe for you to consume, not just safe for your body, but safe for your job. A lot of people get tested. A lot of people work in law enforcement, or they're teachers, coaches, and they get drug tested. So our products are completely safe to consume here in Texas. And that's really important to me because we want to make sure that our customers are protected in their jobs and in their daily lives. And like you said, you know, we're a company that provides a lot of great products that would benefit athletes. So let's talk a little bit about that. So cannabis, whether it's hemp-derived or marijuana-derived, it's all the same family of plants. Cannabis is about 30 to 40% stronger of an anti-inflammatory than something like Advil. So when you're talking about athletes, you're talking about things like this is injuries, about 30 to 40% recovery, the time you have to take in between workouts, things like that. And for boxing specifically, getting hit in the face or the body over and over again causes, obviously, a lot of inflammation. So when you're consuming something like a cannabis product, it's going to help you with recovery. It's going to help you with, you know, all the damage that happens to the body. Instead of taking something like an Advil, for example, when you consume a cannabis product, you're going to bring down all that inflammation in a natural way without injuring the body, without it being something foreign to the body. And like you were mentioning, we've partnered with Rashad Evans to develop a product line of post-recovery or post-workout shakes and other workout products. So keep a lookout for that, guys, on the website. I'll be posting information about that. And like you mentioned, he's an athlete. He knows exactly what athletes want, what they need. And we're so proud and happy to collaborate with Rashad to produce these products because he knows what athletes need. He knows what they want. And we as a company are so proud to provide the quality of cannabis products for his product line. And as far as that goes, you know, our products are created for everybody, not just athletes. Every day in the store, we offer a 15% discount for all law enforcement, military, retired veterans. So anybody can come into the store and check it out. We have a wide range of products. We have oral products, topical products for pain relief. We have vaping products, as you know. We have a multitude of different things that can help your body and just help your entire family get off of the chemicals and onto something more natural.
So it's an organic solution, I'm assuming, right?
Absolutely.
And folks, if she mentioned a professional super fighter, Rashad Evans
yes.
is a professional MMA fighter out of the UFC,
right.
One of her clients,
right.
and I'm pretty sure, just like any contact sport, they
yes.
take a beating to their body.
Right.
And you mentioned to supplement the chemicals to something more organic. But let me ask you, it's legal, right?
Correct.
And what people don't know, what I've heard, that I remember when you had mentioned when you opened your shop, people were saying, well, there's just another pot shop going to open.
Right.
That's an insult, right? Because
exactly.
it doesn't have the
illegal marijuana substance.
It doesn't have those substances. It doesn't get you high.
It does not.
So
no.
tell me something, fighter. he has a hard day's work. He works hard. They're going to be sore. They're going to be hurting. How does it help them? I mean, what does it do to them?
So cannabis, like I was mentioning before, is a very strong anti-inflammatory. The source of most of our health problems or pain issues are all rooted in some kind of inflammation. So by taking down the inflammation, you're going to address all your pain problems in a very natural way. It's strong, it's potent, it works fast. Athletes need less time between workouts to recover, so a person can get back on their feet in much less time and without using things like harsh stimulants or chemicals or pain relievers, because as we all know, all those things have side effects. And the last thing an athlete needs is to be out, sleepy or, not feeling well because they're taking a pain medication. Cannabis is a way better solution.
So does it have side effects?
No side effects recorded except for one thing, and that's sleepiness. 1% of the population reports feeling a little sleepy when they're taking a cannabis product, but that's very few people.
Okay. Now, here's another question. You said it was safe for pretty much anybody, and it's legal in Texas.
Correct.
Right. It's as long as the CBD has 0% THC,
correct.
It makes it legal, right?
Right.
Because I know there's been some controversy.
Yeah.
And I know I've heard that, when law enforcement pulls people over, they'll say, hey, you know what? Look, man, what are you smoking or what are you vaping on? It's cannabis as well. Then when they test it, and if any trace of that THC comes out, that's a felony.
Right.
Right. So how sure are you about your products? Where do you produce the products, if we can ask that?
So a really cool thing that sets us apart from everyone else in the city is that we produce our own products.
Because there's a lot of shops in the city.
There's a lot of shops, you're right. We own our own manufacturing facility. We are in complete custody of the product from growing it to producing our products at the end result, the products that you see in the store. So what that means for the consumer is that we can guarantee their safety. We third-party lab check all of our products, all of our concentrates that come out of the lab. We use a lab called Pro Verde Labs. They're based out of Massachusetts. You can Google them. They're the #1 cannabis testing facility in the country right now.
Wow.
They're called Pro Verde. Look them up. They're awesome. And they provide a lot of education. On their YouTube channel, you can see how they remove all the THC from products and how they test other products. So we make sure to go that extra step. It's expensive to do it. We send every batch to Pro Verde. But it's a step that we're willing to take to protect our consumers and to protect the business in general. There is a lot of gray area. Federally, Trump signed the 2018 federal farm bill, which legalizes hemp and all of its derivatives. However, each state, as you know, has the prerogative to, carry out their laws the way that they want to. And currently in the state of Texas, the definition of medical marijuana is a high CBD, low THC product. And so if you're selling...
What's the percent on that?
Any percent, low THC. I believe it's below 0.03%.
Okay.
So, to be on the safe side from law enforcement, for your job, just in general, it's always safe to have a 0% THC product here in Texas, just to be safe.
So, Marlene, how many shops do you think there is? Because we've seen a lot of shops popping up. I see signs in the corner, CBD massages, oil this, oil that, from North Loop to Alameda, here in Texas, right? And we're so close to Las Cruces. I mean, New Mexico legalized marijuana, correct?
Right. Well, they do have a very big medical marijuana program, yes.
Wow. And I don't know if we'll ever see the day here in Texas, right? But how, do you know what you're up against? Is there more competition?
Not to sound conceited or cocky, whatever, but I don't believe we have competition. We're the only ones here that are making our products, to my knowledge. Most of the other shops are buying it from a wholesaler and reselling it themselves. They have no idea how the products were grown or produced. And like I said, that's what separates our brand from everybody else. We actually own the manufacturing facility. I can tell you exactly how we do it, what's in it. Well, I can't tell you everything. There's a little bit of secrecy involved in the cannabis world, but by owning the facility, we have complete control. So we can tell you that it's a high quality product with complete confidence.
And you can assure your clients that it has 0 THC.
Correct.
And that's what backs up the product, right?
Correct. And we have lab reports for every single batch of products that comes out of our lab. So they're readily available in the store. So to ease a lot of customers' minds, I'm constantly showing these lab reports and letting them know that, if they come up positive for THC, they can't come back and blame me because we've gone through the trouble of testing it. So,
and it's awesome too because you come out here, and I know you've been on the news, and you come out here and you showcase your product. You're backing your product 100%.
Yeah.
And now your clientele might be the contact sport person because you have a big poster child for it, which is Rashad Evans.
Right.
super pro fighter for a UFC.
Yep.
And I hope it just trickles because, I mean, we have a lot of athletes in the border town.
Right.
We have a lot of athletes around this area. And, hey, man, this podcast is about boxing. We have a lot of boxers that, hey, man, take some blows to the head, to the body. And, again, I like what you said, trying to eliminate that chemical.
Yes.
And put something more organic into the body.
Right.
Right? But do you think there's a little bit of pushback from the persons that want to try it because of that, hey, you know what, I don't want to get in trouble, I want to be clean, I want to do that? Yeah,
there's definitely pushback. We're fighting years of propaganda and stigma from generations before us that we just have these, misconceived notions that it's all marijuana, it's all bad, it's all, there's just a lot of bad stuff around it. And it's been my absolute pleasure to talk to all kinds of people in El Paso to help dispel all the myths and provide some education and let people know that the natural way is quite often the better way. A lot of times, yes, we do need a prescription. There are certain medical conditions that require more invasive medical care, but for the most part, you can choose something natural and get great results. And we're here to provide that for El Paso.
So when you say another thing, when you say something natural, I know, and from what I know, when you say something natural, you really got to take it for months. So can the person see some immediate results, or does it take months? And then this is what drives people back. Well, it's going to take 6 months. That's going to really empty my pockets, or it's going to take so long that I'm not going to use it, and maybe that push people back. Or how quickly does it work? Do you got to really wait 6 months to work? Or?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So unfortunately, there's not a real clear answer for that. Everybody's body is different, but we like to see our products and our industry as a part of a lifestyle. We're not just something that you turn to every now and then. We're a part of a healthy lifestyle. So everything from our CBD water to our tinctures to our topicals, we're looking to replace all the chemicals in every household in El Paso with a more natural solution. So we're a part of your whole lifestyle. So yeah, we want to be a part of your daily life. We want you to be consuming our products in one way or another because they're good for you. They're good for your health. They're good for your body. They're good for your brain. They're good for your muscles, your bones. It's definitely better than the average supplement that's out there right now.
So you said water.
Yeah.
So you want some iced tea with CBD oil? Is that, can we say it now? I mean, do you see with water? Do you see restaurants carrying it probably too?
I think it's coming. I mean, people are really turning on to the notion that CBD has a lot of great benefits, and a lot of people are wanting it. So hopefully in the future you'll see it expanding the way you're describing. Yeah. Our water has 10 milligrams in every bottle. And a lot of people that use the water are athletes. My marathon runners, my people who get plantar fasciitis from running a ton of marathons. They'll drink a water after a good workout, and you know what they tell me? They tell me they have to wait less time between workouts. They don't have to wait 2-3 days for the soreness to go away. They'll wait 1 day.
Okay, so at the beginning of the show, you mentioned you have numerous. How can I say? You have a topical. You have vape. Can you tell us a little bit about each product?
Sure. So our tinctures are an oral drop that we create. They're mixed with a high-quality MCT oil, which is a coconut oil. That oil is necessary to absorb into the brain. So that's our flagship product is our oral tinctures. We also make incredible topical products that you can rub at the site of pain. They're also good for skin conditions like psoriasis or eczema, even dry skin and headaches. It's a very multi-use product.
Okay.
We also have massage oils, as you were mentioning. We have soaps. We have exfoliating scrubs. All of these things have cannabis in it, by the way. We have a hemp honey that you can add to warm tea or sweeten your coffee with it. We have really high-quality vaping products that are either the vaping juice with a flavor or just a plain concentrate that you can add to your favorite vape juice that you have already. And then last but not least, we have pet products because dogs and cats and our other pets have medical problems too. So we have a lot of pet clients that have dog arthritis, epilepsy in dogs. We get a lot of clients that have dogs that have separation anxiety, mobility issues, and CBD helps them too. It's fantastic.
Wow, man. So it has a lot of uses, and again, your audience is just anybody.
Anybody and everybody.
All right, so here's the big question that I was going to ask you. It sounds great. I mean, great business, great product. What's the age? Can kids use it? Can kids use that CBD oil? Is it safe? Has it been tested? Would you get in trouble by the FDA? How does that work with kids?
So with kids, what I've always been told to say is ask your pediatrician to be on the safe side. And currently we have 5 medical practices here in El Paso who have signed with Ambary to carry our products in their clinics. I can post those to your website or give you that information so that your audience can get a hold of those medical physicians if they want access to the products with a doctor's help involved. But I always tell people, ask your doctor first and then do a little research. It is safe for kids. We can say that. We have a lot of clients that buy it for their children for things like autism, ADD, ADHD. I had no idea, but it seems like every other kid that walks into my store is on some kind of attention deficit drug of some kind. And there is a better way to treat it. There is a natural way to do it. So a lot of parents are waking up to the fact that it's better to treat it with something like cannabis versus drugs like Adderall or Ritalin, things like that. So yeah, we do have a lot of kids that use the products. Again, ask your pediatrician, get your doctor involved. If you need a physician that is open-minded to cannabis, we do have, like I said, 4 or 5 medical practices currently right now that are carrying the products within their clinics.
Wow. Okay. Well, and again, I will post it on the website. That'll be on already tomorrow night. If you want to visit the website, it's www.warriorsedgeboxing.com. I'll have it there. We'll have it on our social media as well. We'll have her address, her phone number. Marlene, one last thing. Can you tell us where your shop is at, hours of operation?
Sure.
What's the easiest way to get there, or any reference points to your shop so they can visit you, or anything you want to add, coupons or whatever you want to add for the listening audience here tonight?
Awesome. So yeah, we're located at 110 Montecillo. We're on the west side, right across the street from Alamo Draft House, the big movie house. We're on the corner of Mesa and Montecillo in the little shopping district that's in there. A lot of people are familiar with Malolam or Hillside Donuts. Those are kind of the hot spots right now, and we're in the same shopping center as them. Any of the listeners that log in and are listening, if you just mention the podcast, you'll get 10% off in the store. We currently don't have a code for the website, but if you just mention the podcast, I'll give you a 10% discount. So if anybody wants to come out and visit, yeah, we're right there in the Montecillo shopping district. If you want to give us a call, the phone number is 915-929-HEMP, H-E-M-P. Pretty cool, huh?
Yep.
And yeah, we're always welcoming all kinds of people, children, veterans, elderly, young people. I mean, everybody can use a natural solution to their health problems, and that's what we're here for. So we hope to see everyone in there soon.
Wow. Okay. Well, thanks, Marlene, for enlightening us and I guess educating us on this medical miracle. So, I mean, thank you guys, and thank you for being on the show. And again, like I said, folks, I'm gonna have it on the website. And she also said if you mention the podcast, you get a 10% of the product. Go visit Marlene on the west side, right in front of the Draft House at the Montecito complex, close by Hillside Donuts as well. So go visit her. Tell them that you did to the podcast. It's a great store, great product. And again, there it is. It's safe to use.
Thank you.
All right.
So
thank you
much.
for being on the show. We will see you soon.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
You got it, man. Thanks for being on the show. So there you go, folks. That was Marlene from Ambary Health. Kind of interesting to see that, you know, stuff like that works. But again, we talked about people being scared to use this stuff because, again, of the of the word just being attached to marijuana, right? So don't forget, visit her at Ambary Health Southwest, right at the 110 Montecito Suite A1, and phone number is 915-309-9041. Ambary Health is a premium line of cannabis-based dietary supplements. Go visit her there for numerous applications: acne, addiction, epilepsy, she mentioned, heart issues, trigeminal neuralgia, depression, diabetes, you name it. It has a lot of benefits to that, and I think, like I said, it'll kick off well. And again, and the good thing about it, she's local. So interesting that. And if you have any more questions, guys, you can visit us at the website. Drop me a line at warriorsedge51@gmail.com. Visit us at the website, warriorsedgeboxing.com. Or even call us here at the studio, 915-740-4744. And like always, comment on our live stream or recorded programs. They will be on my YouTube page. You can listen to them at work, and you can still comment as well. So now, folks, my co-host for the night, our next guest of honor, is... This individual has been a good friend of Warrior's Edge Boxing for a long time, since I've been open, and I've known him for a while. This individual is a local El Pasoan, proud El Pasoan, and he's done so much for El Paso and the sport. right? He's a proud papa. We love his daughter. She's a great little girl. Her name is Shay, so we want to give a shout out to Shay, right? Shay, Diego was here waiting for you to play, but he wanted to send you a big hug and a kiss. If you're listening, Shay, we were waiting for you, but we love you here at Warriors Edge. Well, let me just introduce a living legend, the man that needs no introduction, the master of disaster. He was born here in El Paso, Texas. He graduated from the Proud Bears of Bowie High School, right? He enlisted in the United States Navy. He's a veteran as well. He was assigned to Admiral Staff Flag duty on board the USS Enterprise and the USS Carl Vinson, right? And he was, and through 1979 and 1992, he had a amateur boxing record of 135 fights, 17 defeats, 7-time El Paso Golden Gloves champion, All-Navy champion, 1992 Olympic Trials quarter finalist, right? And he made his professional boxing debut in 1992. Once he made his professional boxing debut, and I tell you folks, El Paso was a huge boxing town. Through 1992 to 98, he started his professional venture and his journey began. And he fought the likes of, you fought 3 former heavyweight champions of the world. Number 1, Michael Moore. Wow. Hasim Rahman, the man that knocked out Iron Mike Tyson. And he fought Vitaly Klitschko. And we're going to talk about that. And, of course, he also fought at the cruiserweight, and he fought cruiserweight champion of the world, Kenny Keenan, back then. He's a veteran here of El Paso, degree from the University of Texas at El Paso. This guy has served and enlisted. He's a disabled veteran. He served in Iraq. Right now he's a freelance photographer, and we're going to talk about all that and what he does and what he thinks. So and you know what, he's a city councilman too. He ran for city council. Wow. Is there anything that you have not done? Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the master of disaster, the one that needs no introduction, Mr. Herman Delgado. Hey Herman, how are you, sir?
I'm great.
Thanks for being here on the show.
Thanks for having me, Tree. Appreciate it.
You got it, man. Hey, so how you been?
I've been great.
You been doing okay?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah? How's Shay doing?
Oh, Shay, keeping me on my toes, man.
Yeah, what is she doing, man? How old is she?
She's 9 years old, going on 20.
9-year-old?
She thinks she's 20, man.
She comes...
She, insults the music I listen to, gives me a hard time. Oh, man, she's got me listening to Justin Bieber. She's a great little girl. She's awesome. She keeps my life going.
And you know what's something that you wrote here to us, and it said, my greatest accomplishment in life has nothing to do with being a professional athlete, having served my country honorably, but my joy in life is being a father to my beautiful child, Shay Camille Delgado, and she is the reason I have lived life to the fullest.
Yeah, I lived life to the fullest.
And you have lived life to the fullest.
Yep, and I still got many more years to go.
And you get emotional when talk about Shay, huh?
Yeah, you got me going there, man. I'm going to be like on that movie, show me the money.
Hey, Shay, your dad's about to lose it, mija. And she's listening?
Oh, yeah, she's supposed to be. Hi, baby. I'm right here with Mr. Tree and Mrs. Claudia and Diego and Danny and Luis, the whole gang from Web Gym.
And I know you've been part of this building of the gym. You've been a big part, Herman, to me and my family. Shay has been a big part here, too, of the family. You've been a great friend to us, and we thank you for all your knowledge. You also brought you brought us a professional fighter here that actually kicked off the gym like never before. We owe it all to you.
Well,
People say that we don't, and people say that nothing's been given to them, but you, my friend, has given us something. You gave Warriors Edge Boxing. You catapulted us. And you know what? I'm going to give credit where it's due. You catapulted this gym, bringing the lights of a world champion here, and that's what made us. That's what made my son a good trainer. My other trainers, they made everybody so better. So we want to thank you for that, Herman.
And then you get to listen to James Brown.
Yeah, every day. I got tired of that for a while. Man, I got to put James Brown every fucking day, man.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus. I got tired of that, man. But every time I listen to James Brown, it reminds me of him.
Oh, yeah. Every time I listen to James Brown, too, it's like, hey, chop, chop.
Yeah. Chop, chop. DeMarcus Chop, Chop Corley, and we'll talk about him in a little while. Let's get down to the questions, yeah? You're on the barber's chair, and we call it the barber's chair, the hot seat. How did you start your boxing career starting from the amateur ranks?
I walked I started my boxing career at Isleta High School at the old basketball gym. Went there, talked to Mr. Juan Reina, and I fought like maybe 2 fights for him. And then after that, I said, I got to go somewhere else. I just wanted to up my level. Even at that age, after 2 fights, I still thought, hey, I got to do something
So
better.
Isleta High School had a boxing ring?
No, they had no boxing room. We were training in there while the basketball team practiced. So we had bags in there and mitts, and we sparred on the wrestling matches and stuff like that.
Man, imagine if that would happen now. The people would get scared, huh? High school's not what it used to be, huh?
Exactly. And Mr. Dunham was the principal back then, and he let us use the facility. Real nice guy.
Wow, man. Do you think they'll ever bring boxing? Do you think, well, not ever. I mean, I don't think high school's ever had a boxing program, right?
I don't
Any high
think so.
schools that
I don't think so.
I know that in the collegiate level they do, right?
Yeah, at the collegiate level they do.
Why don't you think that high school will ever have that sport?
Probably
They have wrestling.
Probably
and it's-
injuries.
Well, boxing,
wrestling. Yeah, it's
what
not.
about football, Herman? I mean, football is even worse.
Probably because there's no interest in it or nobody speaks up about it, but I've never heard of a program for high school.
Do you think that's ever a
That'd be
possibility?
pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Coronado
that.
versus Bel Air, Bowie
Yeah.
versus Isleta.
Yeah, but you know what the thing about boxing, it's an individual sport. I guess that's why I love boxing. I didn't have anybody to count on. I didn't have to depend on this guy. Hey man, we're not here because we're missing somebody. No, it's just you and your trainer, and that's it. Nobody else.
Wow, so it will be fun to watch high school, huh?
Yeah, it would
Some
be.
high school. So I know that they broke some ground here in El Paso. I think we have a high school that has a hockey team.
Yeah,
Right,
I haven't heard
Coronado?
that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they have a hockey
I know
team.
UTEP does.
So, well, yeah, and it'll be interesting. Well, okay, well, here's the big question, Herman. Tell us about your pro career. That's interesting. Tell me about your travels, your fights, and your coaches.
That was a tough career. You know, when during my amateur career, I started out. I used to have, you know, not Mr. Mata. I had Moy. I had Juan Reina at Isleta. Then I went to Moy over at San Juan Gym. Oh, it's back in the late '70s. Then from there, I went to the great Rocky Galarza. He was my trainer, and that man was the man.
The late Rocky
The late Rocky Galarza.
You know that his son is one of my coaches here at West.
Yeah,
Jojo.
Jojo. I know Jojo since he was a little kid.
We used to walk into that gym. Tell us a little bit more about Rocky's gym.
Oh man, you were in there to train, fight, or get out. It was that simple. There's no
3 rules, huh?
3 rules: train, fight, or get out. There was none of this. Well, I don't feel like fighting next week. No, you show up to the gym, you're gonna fight, and it didn't matter who you got put up against. You were gonna fight. That's the way Rocky ran it, and that's the way it should be now. But it isn't like that anymore.
So, what about your travels so you make it? Your amateur, you had an impressive record in the amateur ranks.
I had 152 fights.
You had 152 fights, which is impressive.
135 wins and 17 losses.
And you were a 7-time El Paso Golden Glove champ.
Yep.
And tell us a little bit about the Golden Gloves, how it used to be.
Oh, it used to be packed. The Coliseum. I fought at the Coliseum at different recreation centers, but it was always packed. But then when I was fighting, fighters were training year round. That's the problem with fighters today. They want to do boxing like it's a high school sport where, you play basketball and you play football.
Like seasonal.
Yeah, boxing is not seasonal. You got to make up your mind. You're going to either fight or be a cheerleader. One of the two.
And boxing is a real jealous sport.
Yeah, boxing is.
Boxing
you got to be dedicated. You got to dedicate yourself. You got to be committed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts or like, oh, you know what? Next week I'll start training. No, you got to train year round, and that's why boxing has gone down here in El Paso. There's like 2 fighters that I know of, Jorge Tovar and Victor Aranda, and those guys train year round. But then, look at their success. They've gone to the nationals. Yeah. They've won the state. That's why they won, because they concentrate and they dedicate themselves.
And we've had the honor to have them here too.
Yeah, they're good guys.
Good guys, and the trainers are good too.
Yes, good
people.
Shout
out to them.
Mr. Reyes Mata and Ruben Garcia, Jorge Tovar Sr. Oh, they're beautiful people, man.
Good people, man. And you're right, man. Very dedicated people, man.
Yeah.
Very dedicated fighters as well. So then you do your amateurs, right? You go to Golden Gloves. How did you transition from amateur to pro?
You know what? My last fight was in the Olympic trials, and right after that, I went to. That's when I said, I'm going to turn pro, and I talked to my manager, Bob Sacco, and that he started getting me fights. And I started out at the surf club, Big Wally's.
Oh, the surf.
And my first paycheck was, I think, $300.
And back then, it was a lot of money.
Back then,
I'm not calling you old, Herman.
Back then, it was a lot of beer. So, I did that, and it was great. And that's just how we got started. There was a bunch of guys, and you forgot to mention one of my good buddies that was one hell of a Golden Gloves fighter, Fernie Morales.
Oh, Fernie.
Fernie.
Also a local guy.
Yeah, local guy, Fernie.
Fernie Morales, that's right.
He was a champ, man. I always
What
looked up
weight
to
was
him.
he?
He was 118 pounds.
118 pounds.
Yeah, he was a fireball, man. I always loved to watch him fight.
So you make it to the pro ranks, and you get your first fights. So you start moving up and getting noticed, right?
Right.
Was there a big problem in El Paso with promoting you or getting you noticed?
Yeah, there was no promotion. I mean, Bob Sacco helped out as much as he could, and what's his name? Owner Pat Devlin over at the Surf Club. Thank God for him. We got our shot to, locally. Just it wasn't that big here in El Paso, so you went out to other shows, and it was like, wow. It sort of, what? I'm gonna touch base on this. The LBC here, I call them the local boxing clowns, for the simple reason that they don't promote anything. The other day I was listening to your show because I've been listening to all of them, and the whole show, they were pointing the finger at the coaches, at the boxing gyms. No, the fault is on the LBC itself. You got people there that don't belong there, and that's the big problem. They need to get out of the way and let somebody who knows boxing run the show.
So, but you're talking about promoting, but they're in the amateur side, right?
Yeah, but the amateur side, what I'm saying is, the job of to promote the Golden Gloves and all that lies on the LBC. They should be contacting the El Paso Times or any of the local media and get the reporters out there. I used to make my own calls to Bill Knight. Hey, Bill.
And he retired,
and Bill retired, beautiful guy. But I would call and I'd get my fighters on there 2 weeks, a month before the Golden Gloves, and they'd write stories on them and stuff like that. You don't see that now. Now that's not our responsibility. Everything is never their responsibility. They point the finger at everybody else instead of taking ownership and saying, you know what, we own this. That's why we're the LBC. We're going to promote it's about the kids, not about themselves. And right now, if you go and see all the people at the LBC, they got nice jackets, nice shirts, nice this, and the kids, nothing. That's the problem right there. The LBC, I put it on the president, and I heard him talking the other day, but you know what? I don't care. I call it like I see it, and it's the truth. I've been in boxing for 41 years, as a fighter, as a judge, I was a judge, as a referee. I've done it all. So I know what I'm talking about. It's like step up to the big school.
And tell us a little bit, now let me shift to pro real quick. Tell us about the big time, the big opportunities you had with big fighters, man. Who were these people?
Well, like I got opportunities to go fight in Baltimore. That's when I fought Hasim Rockman. I fought on the Tuesday night fights when they used to have that on ESPN. So that was a big, and I didn't even know who I was gonna fight. I never asked. Hey, you're gonna fight? I'm like, all right. Who's this guy? Hey, that's Hasim Rockman. Well, okay, whatever, man.
How was it like fighting Hasim Rockman?
He's a big guy, man. He's just a big guy. I was a heavyweight, but I moved up to heavyweight because that's where the money's at. I was actually a 190 pounder, but I moved up to that weight, and the money was good.
Wow.
The money was good, and then after that, I'm fighting Rockman. I'm fighting Sam Hampton up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I'm fighting some big guys, and I'm in the same. I remember I was in when I fought what's his name? The Nigerian Nightmare, man, Ike Ibeabuchi.
Ike Ibeabuchi.
That guy went to prison, but he would have torn Tyson's head off.
Where did you fight him at?
In Lake Charles, Louisiana.
And how did you do on that fight?
I lost in like the 5th round. I got stopped, but then I took the fight like the day before.
Wow, you took the fight.
Yeah, and I always took fights. I didn't back down from nobody.
And I guess the most notable fight that still stands out, and when I see my friends or I introduce like my dad, hey, look, this is the guy that fought Vitaly Klitschko.
That was a big guy.
And I see it on YouTube, and that guy was giant.
Yeah, he was a
giant.
giant.
Folks, if you can stream this, if you can go to YouTube and see this fight, just see how big this guy was. Herman's a big guy. This guy was huge, out of this world. Tell me a little bit about Vitaly Klitschko, man. Was he a good sport? Did he tell you anything?
He was after the fight. We talked. He was a classy guy. We're in the same bit. Boxing's it's a business. You're there to make money. You're there to become champion. You're there to fight and make money. It's a business, like I said. And when I met him afterwards, we talked, shook hands, and God bless you, and just a good guy. There was no animosity. We're there to fight, man.
So he was on his way up, right?
Yeah, he was on his way up.
So who do you think's better, Vitaly or Vladimir?
Oh, I think Vladimir. He was more of a boxer. Had more American style boxing.
They both have their PhDs, right? Or
Yeah,
they're both doctors.
one of
right?
them's a mayor of in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
He's the big guy now.
And I heard one's coming back, right?
No, I don't think so.
It was going viral on social media that I think Vitaly was coming back, but
Yeah, I don't know.
They want all that. They want to get back at these big heavyweights, right? Well, that was
They're doing too good.
And you know what, man? And like I said, that was a very big, notable fight. Something to be proud of. And did El Paso support and embrace the fact that we had a heavyweight fighter here like you fighting these huge names in the world of boxing?
No, you know what? They supported. I remember when Fernie was going up there, and then David Rodriguez, they helped him out a lot with the promotion and stuff like that. But when I was around, they really didn't do much with me because I was small. I was a small heavyweight. I was pretty. I got all my fights were fought in Las Vegas, Atlantic City. I got to fight in the big shows up in. As a matter of fact, I fought at the Trump Taj Mahal, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Cool,
fought.
man.
That's where I fought a guy from Spain. Went 10 rounds, and it was like, wow, I was beat, man. But I went 10 rounds.
So who was your trainers?
My trainer was always Mr. Reyes Mata.
Wow.
And I've always called him Mr. Mata.
Always, and he's still around.
He's still around.
Big shout out to Mr. Mata. I do see him, and
Always.
Mrs. Mata.
Mrs. Mata, yes.
We see him around there.
They were always Mr. Mata. I see kids today call their trainers by first name, and I'm like, whoa, Mr. Mata, I don't care how old I am. I still, to this day, when I run into him, hey, boss, Mr. Mata. It's always Mr. Mata.
And that's the beauty also of boxing is it's so personal. You get attached to your coaches.
Yeah.
I got kids here too. We get attached to our coaches, and it's a mister. And again, look, it's not all about teaching them how to fight. We teach them disciplines.
Yeah.
And in my last podcast, we talked about those disciplines and being the good coach.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, you're going to be that mentor that probably is going to steer that kid in the right direction, right?
Exactly.
Good, man. And I bet you Mr. Mata was real proud of you when you would fight and he would travel with you. And
Yeah,
it was
Mr. Mata.
awesome, man.
Mr. Mata went up with me. I remember I fought in Houston for the Texas heavyweight title, and he was up there with me, and that was a big honor for me because he was there.
Wow, that's and again, like I said, Mr. Mata, folks, is still around. I still see him in competitions.
He's all over the place.
He's all
man.
over the place. He's boxing,
Yeah, he's
right?
boxing.
So El Paso, we talked a little bit, and I've been talking about it, and that's why we created the podcast. We want to make sure that we bring things up to light, right? Hey,
Right.
this is what the podcast's for. No offense to nobody. So we talked about El Paso and boxing. Do you think El Paso is a boxing town?
Not anymore. It's El Paso. I mean, you hear about it. Yeah, it's boxing. You got some pro fights coming in, but it's not a boxing town because I go to the gyms and they're empty. They're empty. The only time you see the gym full is like right now, and it got packed like maybe a week ago or after the movie Rocky comes out. It's like, no, you got to do this 12 months all year round.
It's like when people after the New Year's that Monday it's packed right after the first year,
exactly.
the famous Monday,
Man,
and then
starting the diet.
Yeah, and then after that second
Exactly,
week,
yeah,
forget
forget
the
about
diet.
it, yeah.
Right. I saw Jared at the Subway commercial.
Yeah,
I'm gonna eat
exactly.
your sandwiches to get skinny.
Yeah, exactly.
Jared,
Exactly,
yeah, t-shirts of Jared, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
Jared.
don't want any Jarrett shirts now, man.
Wow,
It's
so
like a Coach Sandusky shirt.
so you said El Paso's not a boxing town. So you think it's a pro town? How can El Paso compete with the bigger cities to bring more championship fights? But let me stop there. El Paso has brought championship fights in the last 2 years. We had
Yes, they
Victor
have.
Ortiz. Devin Alexander, by the way, he trained at Warriors Edge
Right.
Boxing. A big shout out to Mr. Steve Cunningham, his trainer. You know these out of town fighters, man. When they come here, we've had Devin Alexander here. Great people, man. He was great to the missus, to the kids.
Well, this is a real gym. That's the difference with all the other gyms that I've been to. This is a real boxing gym.
And that's what Devon said too.
Yeah,
It
it's
smells
a real
like a
boxing. Yeah,
gym.
it's a boxing gym. It's a boxing gym.
Even though I remember Chop Chop also mentioned one thing when he walked in. He goes, "You know what, man? This is a boxing gym because you have a lot of kids, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, where they barely starting because sometimes people don't want to waste they want the product already finished instead of building the product, building him from the beginning and on."
Right.
You know?
I've been to some boxing gyms, and I'm not going to mention the names, but I've been to a couple here in town, and it's like, wow, state-of-the-art facility, but it's like having a Mercedes-Benz and with a Ford Pinto engine. You got nobody to run it, man. Trainers like a dime a dozen. They're aerobics instructors is what I call them. They have no idea. They carry these guys put a time clock around their neck and a whistle, and they're trainers. Like, wow. And then the red book in their back pocket. Wow, watch out with that guy. He's a coach.
So El Paso, do you think they can compete with bringing more championship fights? Pro fights?
It would be nice. I mean, last year was pretty nice when they brought in those two from PBC Series Boxing.
Even Andre Durrell.
Yeah.
Was it Andre Durrell?
Yeah.
I think he fights this weekend. I don't know, or next week.
And then they brought in Top Rank, and that was a good show.
Right? Yeah, they brought in. I mean, nothing's
with the guy from Juarez.
Oh, Mickey Roman.
That's a hell of a fighter.
And hopefully we'll have him pretty soon on the show.
He's a hell of a fighter. I tip my hat off to that guy. That guy needs a wheelbarrow to carry what around.
Yeah, he is tough, a hell of. And yeah, they brought him here he fought at the PBC level. So far this year, Herman, we haven't heard there's a big fight coming to El Paso.
No, nothing.
Right?
I haven't heard
nothing
anything.
yet.
No, nothing
it's
yet.
still hush hush. Even though there is some fights developing. I wish we could bring Lomachenko, but
right now with amateur boxing, back to amateur boxing, you really can't announce that there's going to be fights because they'll wimp out. Hey, you're going to fight, around here. That's why Tovar doesn't get any fights and Victor Andrade, because the minute they mention that they're in the bracket, it's like, oh, you know what? My grandmother died. When? Next week. The grandmother died a week ago. It's like, come on, man. You're in the business of boxing. You train, you work, you run, and then when they tell you who you're going to fight, you're going to wimp out. And and I'm being nice. That's an understatement, wimp out. It's either you fight or get out of it. Like I said, there's cheerleading programs now that'll take you.
So you mentioned about the amateur. We're going to amateur. What do you think of our amateur talent? You mentioned there was two. Our amateur, there's still more amateur talent here. There's more than them too, right?
There's a lot
of kids out
I
there.
know there's kids here that I see. I see your son Danny and Luis helping out with all, and then I see little Moses. Little Moy, I've seen him fight when he used to train here and all that. But I see fighters.
Andy Perez is good.
Yeah, Andy's good. I've seen that little kid. That's southpaw.
Yeah, both of them are southpaw. We got a good stable of fighters here.
Yeah. So I see these guys. The thing is, I can walk any day of the month in here, and it's the same faces all the time, training, sweating, working hard. But then I go, like I said, other gyms. All I see is Jorge Tovar, and Victor Aranda, and it's like that's it. That's it. Other than that, it's like everybody's it's like a movie to them. What's that new movie that just came out with Rocky?
Creed?
Yeah, put Creed on and they'll be back in the gym. They'll be back in the gym in no time.
Well, Herman, so what do you, if you can change one thing of your let me stop there. So you mentioned that you're in the gyms. Are you a trainer?
I'm a trainer.
And you train where?
I train at Armijo, but what I do is I train a fitness class, little kids.
How old are they?
They're like between the ages of 8 and 14 years old.
And I also heard, Herman, correct me if I'm wrong, you're at Armijo.
Just Armijo.
And you have a lot of troubled youth out there hanging out. I know
at Armijo I do.
You've had issues with them as well. But you also, not that you have issues with them, but you've also tried to grab them and bring them into the gym, right?
Yeah, but they're not going to come in. It involves real fighting, so
yeah,
it's easier to fight with a baseball bat and smoke weed.
Unfortunately,
it's a lot, yeah, unfortunately, but so that's the way it works.
You are involved as a trainer.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm not licensed with the USA Boxing. That's why my class is a fitness class. But I do work with professional fighters.
Okay, that was my next question. So you're a pro trainer. Who have you trained?
I've trained Johnny Tapia.
Mi Vida Loca,
man.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Guys,
him.
The Albuquerque sensation. The documentary is awesome, huh? You had a documentary on Johnny Tapia,
HBO,
Mi Vida Loca. What a great fighter. You trained him. You were one of his trainers. He fought in El Paso as well.
And no, that fight that it was supposed to take place in El Paso, he canceled it. So that was it.
How hard was it to train a guy so off the rails?
You get a guy like Johnny Tapia, and you really can't. You train him. You just work with him. You can't teach him anything because he's already a professional. Same as like when I trained Cesar Bazan, the WBC lightweight champion of the world. I trained him, and I trained with Chop Chop. Former
Chop Chop
world champion. So
fought Mayweather.
You don't teach those guys anything. They already know. They're dedicated. They already have how they're gonna work. So.
And I'm assuming when we saw Chop train, and folks, let me tell you, man, super athlete, dedicated. He'll come in. We would see him do 1 hour of jump rope. I barely today. I only did 2 minutes.
Yeah,
What?
I do about
And
30,
that-
I do about 30
and
seconds.
that check engine light came on pretty quick.
Yeah.
Now one time I see him, I saw him do an hour and 20 minutes, do jump rope. They were committed. They would come to the gym every day. And here was the most important thing: they would run every day. Cardio, cardio, cardio. I'm assuming it was no difference from Johnny Tapia or the great Bazan, right?
Yeah, those guys, I mean, they just already know how they train. I mean, that's it. That's their job, just like any professional fighter. It's
Super
your
athletes.
job. Super athletes, but it's your job. It's your job.
And
Your
I
job
know-
is boxing.
Yeah, and when he was out here, I had the privilege to help him out in some of the fights on TV. We traveled with him, and also it gave the coaches an opportunity. That's right, an opportunity.
The thing is that coaches, you're not a coach just because you buy a shirt from swap meet and it says coach on the back. You got to know the sport. You got to know what you're doing before you call yourself a coach. And that's the big issue here. Why amateur boxing is there's only about a handful of people I can call coaches because I know what they do with kids. I see how they work with kids, and then I see others that are just they're a bunch of cheerleaders. They yell, they're rude to their kids. You can't do that. Can't do that to these kids.
So, and another name that you trained that I think you're synonymous with is David Rodriguez.
David Rodriguez.
What happened to David Rodriguez? Is he still
He's
fighting?
no, he's not fighting anymore. He's still around though. He had some back injury, real bad back injury. So that you get to a certain age and that's it.
I remember I announced one of his pro fights here at the Don Haskins Center.
Yeah.
I think he fought Big Ty Cobb. I think it was Ty Cobb, and I announced him. I remember co-announcing with Buzz Adams.
Yeah.
And I remember coaching Buzz Adams and telling him it's going to be all right. Well, I'm nervous. You're nervous? Buzz Adams is nervous? Yeah, because he was in front of cameras.
Yeah.
Right, and I was nervous, man. It was 3,000 people.
It's something else. A whole different.
It's hard being up there, man.
Yeah.
Announcing in front of the large crowds. But, all right, so David Rodriguez is still healthy and still, is he going to fight?
He's healthy. No, he's not going to fight no more. I
So-
mean, honest to God, he's not going to fight no more.
So you also you train in Armijo, but I think you train somewhere else.
With Dr. Schuster
Dr.
at
Schuster, and he's a
El Paso
huge
Fight
boxing
Club. He's
fan.
he worked my corner one time here in El Paso.
He did?
Yeah, he was my fight doctor. I didn't need him because I knocked the guy out before the first
he has
round.
a gym in his backyard. That's how
Yeah.
big his house is, right?
Oh, that house it's like a park.
Right.
It's like a boxing park.
And every Saturday morning.
Every Saturday morning, I've been there for like almost 20 years now.
Yeah, we see you post with little Shay there too.
Yeah,
also with
she's
you.
always.
You do
she's
everything
my,
with
she's
her,
my
right?
trainer, man. She's my assistant trainer.
That's cool, man.
She's the one that
The
tells
boss.
me. Yeah,
The
she's the
agent.
boss. She's the one that tells me. I always ask her, "Do you think I should make these guys run?" No, Daddy, it's too cold. So I cut him some slack.
I know she once made a birthday card for Diego.
Oh yeah, she.
So, if you can change one thing about your pro career, Herman, what would it be?
If I would have dedicated myself more to it and not been, always partying.
Okay.
To me, you become a professional athlete and you start falling into the same. Oh man, you get all these. What do they call these people that hang out with you all the time?
The groupies.
The groupies.
Roadies,
and
groupies.
Yeah, the groupies, and you fall into it, and before you know it, you start believing them, and you're like, yeah, I'm the greatest, man, and you fall into that rut, and before you know it, you're done. You're done. And when you need them, they're not there anymore. The groupies that used to hang out with you and drink beers are no longer there. So, that's all there is to it.
So, any advice you want to give to share with young fighters right now moving up in the sport?
Yes. Make up your minds what you're going to do. You're either going to be a boxer, a football player, a tennis player, a golfer. It's one or the other. You can't, you guys got you start thinking of guys like Tiger Woods. You never heard of him. Well, I'm seasonal. I only play golf. And that's just an example. You got football players. They're good because they stuck to one sport, and that's the same way with boxing. You either stick to that sport or leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Hey, you had a question here on the. They wanted to ask you, where did you fight Vitaly Klitschko? What city?
In Germany and Karlsruhe, Germany.
Karlsruhe, Germany. There was a question there for you, Herman. Again, that was your last fight as a pro. Which one was it?
The Klitschko.
The
I was
Klitschko
supposed to fight Alex Garcia, and that fell through again. Professional fight. I showed up for the press conference, and it was under Ron Weathers. Showed up for the press conference, and nobody was there. Nobody called me and told me the fight was canceled. As a matter of fact, I showed up at Smokey's, the bar where they were going to have the press conference, And the waitress told me it was canceled, not the promoter. So that's when I said, that's it, man. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. It's a circus.
Last but not least, what do you do now besides train?
I'm a photographer now.
You're a professional photographer, and yes. I know I see you in all the we saw you at the Trump rally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was out there, and I shoot for a City Beat magazine, and I write up for a sports page, Sun City Southwest Sun City. I got the name all mixed up today also. But I shoot for them, and I shoot all the UTEP games and stuff like that. I enjoy it. It's nicer being behind the lens now than being in front of the lens.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
So that's cool. So
as long as you enjoy it, right?
I enjoy it. I love it, and it's great.
Well, it was a pleasure to have you.
Thank
on
you.
board, man. It was awesome to have you. Do you who do you like in boxing as a pro fighter? Who do you like right now moving up? In the pro ranks.
As far that kid from what's his name? He's like a 135 pounder
from New York.
No, he's from I think from the Ukraine. Not Triple G. There's another one. He's man. That guy hits from all angles.
Vivo.
They're trying to match him up with Mikey Garcia.
Is it Lomachenko?
Loma. That guy's awesome, man.
He's awesome. Yeah.
That guy is awesome.
He's about to fight here coming up, so he'll have some upcoming fights.
Yeah. People asked me the other day, who's the heavyweight champion? I couldn't tell you that anymore, who's the heavyweight champion is. It's like...
There's so many heavyweights or what?
Yeah, there's just so many, the WBC, the WB... I'm surprised the LBC in El Paso doesn't have a heavyweight champ. Or a franchise to,
What do you mean?
Well, everybody has a franchise. WBO, WBC, WBA, IBF, WWW. It's like it's a joke now. I remember when it was just one heavyweight champion of the world.
Was that?
Muhammad Ali. Larry Holmes.
Right.
Those guys.
Well, Herman, this weekend we have a big fight weekend here on TV. We have the Showtime card, James DeGale, Chris Eubank, UK fighters, great fighters as well. You also have on the undercard Bernard Stervern. And then also on the DAZN channel, you'll have the Brandon Rios and Humberto Soto fight for a 12-round junior middleweight, which that's going to be interesting to watch as well. So there's some good fights this weekend to get out there. Anthony Durrell also fights this weekend.
Hell of a fighter.
Yeah, he's a good fighter. Anthony Durrell will fight Avin Yildirim, and this is going to be for the vacant WBC Super Middleweight Champion. And this is going to be televised also on Fox Sports 1. Herman, it's been a pleasure to have you on board. Always an honor to have you at the gym here at the Warrior's Edge. Your doors are always open. This is your third home. And I know you're always training, but you're always welcome to come out in here and shed some light on us and just talk to the guys like Tocayo, Sergio, my son, the missus, and just Diego, just everybody out here.
It's always a pleasure.
You're always welcome to come back, Herman. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you very much.
Have a great evening. Have a great weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the heavyweight, the Hitman heavyweight, Herman Delgado. That's going to wrap up our show. Just don't forget, I got a couple of announcements. Don't forget this weekend, Golden Gloves from the El Paso County Coliseum. Tomorrow, first fight start at 7. Saturday and Sunday at 3 o'clock. Don't forget, it's going to be at the Judging Arena. Also, March the 2nd, Rodriguez Fight Team presents Spring Rumble at the Apollo Gym. That's March the 2nd. Get your fighters pre-matched by calling 915-626-8986. That is going to be the Rumble at the Apollo Gym, March the 2nd. For more information, call Mr. Rodriguez at 626-8986. That's 915. And March 30th, the Southwest Slug, all the way from Las Cruces, New Mexico, March the 30th at the Sam Burke Youth Boxing Club. For more information, you want to call Mr. Henry Cabrera at area code 575-214-1916. So we have some big fights this weekend, local fights coming up. It's Golden Gloves week. Get out there, enjoy the fights at the Coliseum. Support local boxing. Guys, that's been my show. Stay tuned. Look at my website for what's coming up. We have a big show next week as well. But like I've always said, anything you do in life, you put God first. We want to thank Ambary Health for being with us today, and Mr. Herman Delgado, and everybody at the gym tonight. Guys, that's been my show. Have a wonderful evening. We will see you next week. Like always, I'm Tree. Have a great weekend.